Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro denounced a new attack on the country's electricity system, this time at the Simon Bolivar hydroelectric power station in Guri. In Palestine, an Israeli attack at the Nuseirat refugee camp killed 20 civilians, bringing the total death toll in Gaza to over 40,600. And in Niger, after 11 years of occupation, German troops completed their departure from the African nation. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro denounced a new attack on the country's electric system, this time at the Simon Bolivar hydroelectric power station at the Guri Dam. President Maduro detailed the attack affected the 23 states of the country and the capital. The Venezuelan president highlighted that his team carried out a successful identification process of the mechanisms used to attack the Guri Dam. The Venezuelan president also informed that thanks to the authorities' work, the country is at peace. We now go live with our correspondent in Caracas, Gladys Quesada. Welcome, Gladys. What are the latest updates from Venezuela?
Hi, Luis. Thanks for this time and the opportunity to contact with you and with our audience through TeleSUR English and the screens. Currently, I'm at Petare, one of the most populous neighborhoods in all Latam and also in Caracas, Venezuela. And this is one of the main zones in the western part of the city that was affected by the electric cut, the power grid attack suffered yesterday in early morning hours. As you know, and our audience, yesterday the government had a full task force for repairing and also recovering the electric power grid here in Venezuela. But also I want to tell you that today, August 31st, the recovery of the coverage is 100%. I mean, all the power grid is up, is working, is effective, and everyone here in Caracas is enjoying the service once again. And the water bombing and the water pumping also is back, because this is one of the main services that get affected when the electricity is out and the power is out here in Caracas and in all Venezuela. Currently, I'm at a farmer's market, which means that people is just here buying their goods for the week. They are buying, the vegetables, the fruits. They are buying also whatever they need to be in storage in their houses in order to be prepared, to be ready for the week. But I want to tell you, and I want to stress, the city is totally recovered in terms of transportation, because as we were reporting yesterday, one of the main here and the impacts of this electric cut is that the subway lines are out of power, and also they are out of service, so they are not operative, which means that people had to mobilize using the landlines or using maybe the roads, which means crowded roads in every instance, because out of the 7 million inhabitants in Caracas, the metro line, or I mean the subway line, is one service for 3 million people here in the city, so it is a lot. But as I was saying yesterday, the government ensured the transportation means using 250 buses, special buses, that were summing up or adding up to the current means of transportation from the private sector. Right now, as you can see, there are some people in the streets, many people that are using the subway lines, and they are coming here to these farmers markets here in Petare, which are more economic and they have better prices than other parts of the city. So people come in here to do their shops, to do their groceries. And as you can see behind me, there is a long line of people just buying and choosing and picking up their fruits, their vegetables, as I was saying. And there is music in the city. There is other services. People are just going to the beauty salons. They are going to buy some repair car parts. And also those are the ones that are going to the beaches, to the parks, and enjoying this Saturday. Because let's recall, aside from the attack yesterday on the national power grid and the electric system, aside from the sabotages, aside from maybe this kind of liabilities and difficulties, Venezuela is still moving on, and people are just working when they have to and enjoying their leisure time and their weekend and their free time as long as they can, no matter what happened here in the country. So today, the city is moving on with normalcy. As you can see behind me, people is just buying what they need. They are coming in here, and we are showing just one market because we have to stay in a place. We have to be still. But in other markets, you know, the fish market, the shoe stores, they have also many customers doing lines, many people who are taking advantage of the offers of Saturday, and they're just living their lives as long as they can and as long as they have the opportunity to do so, despite, as I was saying, this kind of liabilities and this kind of attacks. This morning, there was this news that they had the 100% coverage of the electric system once again back in the city. But I want to tell you that the president yesterday was saying that Venezuela is ready, is prepared for this kind of attacks, and in all times they have contingency plans. They are ready, they plan in advance to face this kind of issues, this kind of attacks and liabilities. And as yesterday he was saying in the nighttime and today in the morning, other authorities, they were stressing that there are also other actions by the national police, like the one that had place in Táchira before the elections on July 28th, and they deactivated one criminal band that intended to do the same thing that happened yesterday, an attack, a sabotage against the electric system. Also, I want to tell you that the first vice president of the country, Delcy Rodriguez, she mobilized to Bolivar State and mobilized with the Minister of Electricity here in Venezuela. Together, they assessed the recovery tasks, and together they gave some addresses this morning. They were saying that the hydroelectric plant of Guri is reestablished, and they were saying that the service is 100% again back in the city. And some commerciants, some market owners, they were saying that yesterday was a difficult day because they don't have, or they lacked yesterday the means of doing the digital financial transactions, but that today they are full in tasks. They are working at 100% capacity. And that yesterday, they the first thing they did was selling the freeze or the frozen goods because they were fearing, you know, that they came to be run cash transactions. This is the reality of Venezuela, a resilient country that is facing every impact, every attack with creativity, with a joyful spirit. And as you can see behind me, they are just prepared for this kind of attacks that they have been suffering since 2019, when they were 1 week, a whole week without electricity because one of these sabotages. So, Luis, this is the information. We will be reporting from different points of the city, so we can show you the situation today on Saturday noon, because this is noontime already here in Caracas, in Caracas hours, and we will be reporting for you and for our audience. So, Luis, now we are back to you. We are giving you the signal.
Thank you, Glad. We're going to stay tuned with you to continue following up on the situation in Caracas, so we'll be in touch in upcoming news briefs.
Yeah, we will. We will, Luis.
Well, let's move on to other news related to the topic. Early Saturday morning, Diosdado Cabello, the Minister of the Interior, Justice and Peace of Venezuela, gave a detailed report on the situation in the Bolivarian nation after suffering what the executive has described as one of the largest attacks on the national electricity sector. Accompanied by representatives of the security forces who guaranteed, together with the courage of the Venezuelan people, that the brutal attack would not affect the peace of the nation, Cabello gave details about the situation in the capital and at the national level. After an intense, highly technical and coordinated operation, disarticulated the operation led by the National Far Right in coordination with its agents abroad.
Después del ataque After today's terrorist attack, which is intended to scare, they think they are going to scare our people. But our people have a lot of conscience. The people are in the streets sharing with their families. The security agencies are deployed and the people feel safe and calm. They can walk calmly because there is the police, their police, in perfect civic police-military union. The Bolivarian National Guard is also deployed, and it is part of the doctrine.
The Minister of the Interior, Justice and Peace assured that the state security forces guaranteed peace throughout the country.
Today, they preserved the peace of this country all day long. All day long, our people felt safe and calm, and we saw it right now when we stopped somewhere and the people felt safe. They enjoy with their children, with their wives, with their families. For all the tour we did, we went to the Barral, to the National Assembly, peace and tranquility.
Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel expressed his support and solidarity with the people of Honduras and its President Xiomara Castro in the context of her accusation to the United States government's interference in the Central American nation's internal affairs. Through a statement on his social media, the head of state expressed, "Stop all interference in the internal affairs of Honduras, all our support and solidarity to President Xiomara Castro, her government, and the Honduran people in the face of the attacks on the sovereignty of Honduras and our America." Meanwhile, in Brazil, the Federal Supreme Court issued an order to suspend the use of the social media X in the country due to legal violations by Elon Musk's company. The judge ordered the immediate and total suspension of the social media until all the court orders issued by him are complied with, the fines are paid, and the company appoints representatives in the national territory. He also expressed that there is an imminent danger due to the actions of extremist groups and digital militias that use the social media to spread Nazi, racist, fascist, hateful, and anti-democratic speeches, which undoubtedly create an environment of total impunity in the Brazilian social networks. In this sense, it is expected that X will gradually cease to function in the coming hours, depending on the regions of the country. And also in Brazil, 2 people lost their lives and dozens were injured after the collapse of a roof of a Catholic church in Recife on Friday. The accident occurred at the Morro da Conceição sanctuary, where worshippers were distributing food baskets to the needy. Authorities reported that 22 people were injured, some of them seriously. The mayor of Recife, João Campos, decreed 3 days of mourning and announced an investigation to determine if the collapse is related to the recent installation of solar panels in the church or if there were structural failures. Videos on social media showed the collapsed roof and injured people on the ground, some with bloodstains. In Palestine, more than 40,600 civilians have been killed by the Israeli occupation forces as part of the continuing attacks on the Gaza Strip. In the last 24 hours, the occupation forces carried out 5 massacres in the Gaza Strip, leaving at least 89 Palestinians killed and 205 others wounded. Health authorities warned that the number of those killed and injured could be even higher, as many of the victims remain trapped under the rubble of the infrastructure affected by the bombardments due to Israel's impediments to the entry of ambulances and civil defense teams. At one of the most recent assaults, at least 20 people have been killed by Israeli attacks in Nuseirat, central Gaza. We stay in context in the Middle East. A brutal Israeli attack on a humanitarian convoy on Friday has left 4 people dead. An Eras convoy, a U.S. organization, departed from the Karem Shalom border crossing with the authorization of the occupying troops. Its members were of Palestinian origin and they had all the controls imposed by Tel Aviv. They were carrying out food, medicine and fuel for the Emirate hospital. However, the occupiers claim that the vehicle was controlled by armed assailants. Anara denies the serious accusation and reiterates that they have a strict agreement with the Move One company to use only unarmed guards. Also in this context, Norway has strongly condemned the recent Israeli attack on the humanitarian aid convoy in Gaza, joining the other countries that have expressed concern for the safety of aid workers in the region. International Development Minister Anne Beth Svinerim called the attack totally unacceptable, stressing that aid workers must be protected while providing vital assistance to civilians. The situation has led to an urgent call to investigate the attack and ensure respect for international humanitarian law as the humanitarian crisis in Gaza deepens. And at least 7 U.S. soldiers were wounded in the western desert of Iraq after a clash with suspected Daesh militia members. The events occurred on Thursday, but it was not until Friday that the Central Command, in an unusual statement, confirmed them. According to the U.S. military office, the soldiers were participating in a joint operation with the Iraqi army in the Anbar Desert. In the raid, in addition to the wounded foreigners, 15 terrorists were neutralized, who, according to the Central Command report, were heavily armed. The Iraqi government has not yet made a statement on this incident. We now have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at TeleSUR English. There you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Niger, after 11 years of occupation, German troops completed their departure from the African nation. This was confirmed by the Hermann Nicolai, ambassador of Germany in this country, who stated that the last troops left the territory on Friday. The diplomat assured that the process was carried out in an orderly and conciliatory manner with the Government Council and within the established deadlines. Niamey ratified the conditions of the peaceful and respectful withdrawal and reiterated that the security of the country is an internal matter, referring to the damage caused by the colonialist logic of other governments. Meanwhile, the United Nations announced on Friday the creation of a new office against racism, dedicated to addressing this scourge in the workplace. The head of the organization, Antonio Guterres, called on governments to take the initiative to promote and implement policies and laws to guarantee inclusion on the occasion of the International Day for People of African Descent, which is commemorated every August 31st. Guterres considered it essential to accelerate global efforts to end racial discrimination against people of African descent, calling the legacies of slavery intolerable. In this sense, he also advocated for restorative justice to address the crimes accumulated in decades of slavery, with a call to build a world of equality, opportunities, and justice for all. In other news, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has called for an investigation into deepfake pornography following reports of chat rooms on Telegram sharing explicit images of minors, which has sparked public outrage. Despite having the fastest internet speeds in the world, the country faces a serious epidemic of digital sex crimes, such as spy cameras and revenge porn, due to insufficient legislation. Recently, college students were found to be operating an illegal chat room on Telegram, where they shared deepfake pornographic material of female classmates. Yoon stressed that many of those affected are minors and called on authorities to address these digital crimes effectively. Activists have expressed concern about the difficulty of removing such online content and urged the government to declare a national emergency in the face of this crisis.
When I saw the deepfake sexual crimes at the level of a national disaster, I felt so sad and angry thinking about the feelings of the victims, whose names and faces I don't even know. I was so angry at the society that created this situation that I couldn't stand it.
I think that the culture that finds pleasure in sexually humiliating women and the distorted sexual awareness is really problematic. And I also think that it is a big problem that the investigative and government agencies are not properly punishing or investigating even when it is repeatedly happening.
In Poland, a drone show commemorates 80th anniversary of Warsaw Uprising. The activity had a total of 615 drones formed a series of pictures of symbols of Warsaw and the Polish resistance. Among these representations are a bridge with the inscription "Community," our heart with the number 44 precisely for the year the uprising took place, a Polish flag with the symbol of the Polish resistance, a picture of a child soldier during the Warsaw Uprising with the inscription "Recognition," a mermaid with a shield, and a sword, the symbol of Warsaw, among others.
This game, this drone dance was superb. It was colorful. Someone who doesn't know what happened 80 years ago would be able to discover it in the sky.
It was a very good idea to past to show that it can be done differently. A beautiful show without fireworks and with a message. I thought it was great that there were symbols of Warsaw, resistance, and patriotism.
And in Panama, a ship that can carry 17,640 containers broke the record on Friday as the vessel with the largest capacity to cross the Panama Canal in its 110 years of operation. According to the Canal Authority, in a press release, the container ship MSC Marie transited through the canal, paying a total of $1,361,742. The Liberian flag merchant ship vessel became the first with the largest cargo capacity ever to cross the interoceanic waterway, surpassing the mark of the Evermax, which held the title with a capacity of 17,312 containers in 2023. The canal, recovering from a drought that forced a reduction in transits to the end of 2023, projects a record revenue of $5.6 billion in 2025, when some 13,900 ships with 520 million tons of cargo are expected to pass through. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.